Delightfully dated, yet childhood defining, Playing Beatie Bo by Ruth Park was my book for the February Rereadathon prompt of revisiting a childhood favourite. If you are looking for a middle grade March recommendation from an Australian author, then this might just be the book for you. Hi, I'm Leah, and welcome to Hide and Seek, and welcome to my review of Playing Beatie Bo by Ruth Park. Originally published in 1980, this beautiful Australian children's classic edition by Penguin was published about 5 or 6 years ago. It matches my Looking for Ali Brandy book I recommended in my Future Classics tag. Now, as I said, initially published in 1980, I studied it at school not too long after that. Now, it's a good thing my mum doesn't watch this channel because I'm just about to out her. She is one item entering her home of being in an episode of Hoarders because not too long ago she found this exercise book, the exact exercise book I used in 1980, let's just say it, 1982, when I studied this book in high school. Now, I don't even remember my handwriting looking like this. It's ridiculous. It's just hilarious. And to read my analysis and my synopsis and my thoughts on the book back then was just a crack up. Now, I obviously didn't do too badly, like 92 out of 100 in the assignment, so hooray for 13-year-old Leah. Abigail Kirk is a teenager in Sydney in the late 1970s whose parents are going through a rather acrimonious divorce. Through a magical ghost game the kids are playing close by, she finds herself magically transported back to the same physical location just 100 years earlier in the 1870s. This book tells the story of cultural change, of family dynamics, and it is a wonderful, wonderful story. Now, like I said, it is delightfully dated. A couple of the key points that I found in there that were quite dating was Elvis Presley is still a bit of a heartthrob. Gene Kelly is listed as an actor, everyone's favourite actor. Now, it was written in the early 80s, so he was in the twilight of his career, but he did still have Xanadu to go under his belt. But who even remembers who Gene Kelly is today? Unless you are a musical aficionado like I. Another part, Abigail's mum is a buyer and seller of antiques, and she finds a treasure trove at a farm in St Mary's. Now, St Mary's today is part of the western urban sprawl of Sydney. I think you would be hard pressed to find any open green space in St Mary's, let alone a farm at all. However, I loved this book for the sweet nature of family dynamics. But the most important and the most valuable lesson I learned from this book is how articulately it spoke of a woman's place in society at that particular time. It did a good mix of bringing in modern, as in the 1980s viewpoint, and transplanting it back to the 1870s. The eponymous title character of Beatie Bo is the daughter of a small-time merchant in Sydney at the time, and she goes to school, but she only goes to the paupers' school where she learns sewing and darning and cookery and how to enter the life of service rather than actual real education like her brothers are receiving. And through the interaction with Abigail from the future, Beatie then pushes and urges and strives and finally convinces her parents that she should go to real school, and that's the beautiful story that comes out towards the end of the book. Now, Abigail is a polarising character, and like most teenagers, she is both bratty and self-assured, and at times oscillating between being a petulant child and being quite a rational, mature thinker. And I think that was a very interesting portrayal of a teenager. You have to remember that this book was written way before the boom or the burst of young adult fiction that we have today. It was written in a time when you either read children's books or adults' books. So it's one of the first books I've ever found that bridged that gap for me as an early reader. I found Playing Beatie Bo to be wonderful. If you are looking to revisit an Australian children's classic, or like I said, from somewhere else in the world and want to see an Australian young adult middle grade book from the past, this is a wonderful, wonderful introduction. What books defined you as a student when you were at school? I remember this, but I don't really remember any others. But thank you for watching and have a fabulous day.